Konami Studios. Billionaire Island, Issue 2, came out this week. Another smashing hit from the creative team of Mark Russell and Steve Pugh. And I'm telling you guys, Ahoy Comics really knows what they're doing when it comes to their properties. Like I said it before, Second Coming was great, this book is great, Planet of the Nerds is great. They're creating up a great repertoire for being maybe not the next big thing in comics. I don't think they'll be the next Image or the next DC or the next Marvel, but they could be a Valiant, they could be a Dynamite, they could be a Boom Studios, and I'm excited to see this company grow. So issue 2 of Billionaire Island, it kicks off right where we left off in the first issue. Our leading man, who I still think is remain nameless, I can't remember what his origin kind of was. We get hints of it in the first issue. His wife was murdered from a disease that could have been cured by this guy called Spagnola. So he takes over the identity of Spagnola, and he is now going to go to Billionaire Island to just mess up some crap. It's going to be pretty fun to see where that goes and how that turns out. I'm calling him our leading man because a big part of this issue 2 is this idea that there is a film studio on Billionaire Island, which I think is pretty interesting. It's run by this guy named Ron Fang, who is, man, that is such a rich prick Hollywood name. I absolutely adore that name. I think it's hilarious. And he owns this studio called I Don't Give a Shit Studios, and they just make a bunch of terrible films. We see at the beginning here, there's one where an illegal alien is fighting a pedophile, and it's called Alien vs. Predator, which is pretty funny stuff, but come on, this guy just seems like a complete dick. And I think that's pretty interesting. Again, I have to commemorate Mark Russell for his terrific writing. There's just so many little moments in this issue that are just so realistic and believable in something that's so over the top as this project is. Like, there's this idea that you get one of the guys that's on the helicopter with our leading man, and he is this rich tycoon, but he's not your classic rich tycoon where he's like an oil baron or that kind of stuff. He is this big Texas cowboy, but he created an app which cut out a lot of people's jobs. It's kind of like the middleman, so like the middle class worker no longer exists because of it. Every like big entrepreneur, big company has this app that kind of just, he says it pretty much just releases a bunch of emails to employees, but it cut off 1/3 of the workforce in all of America because of what he did and what this app does. And you can see the rich really don't understand the poor or the middle class because they don't think about that kind of stuff or the importance of having that job for somebody. And that stuff is really interesting. And as we get further along down this issue too, you just see our leading man here is really against this system, which I think is really cool. And he kind of just, right away, as soon as he gets out to the island, we see a bunch of cool stuff on this island too. Like, it looks like a terrible place if you don't have the money to go there, because everyone here's an asshole. You see there's like restaurants that show you, oh, endangered species are on the menu. Here's a fancy foot massage place. Here's a fancy massage place. You go to all these different areas and it's looked really interesting. But our leading man is not having any of it. And he wants to take down this empire so fast. But he gets found out right away because our main guy here, Mr. Kanto, learns Spagnola died, but someone checked into Billionaire Island using his identity. So that's how he kind of gets caught. And I like it too. There's this idea that this is just insane to me. It's insane to me that this exists. There's this idea that one of the things that these rich people built for security is these special bullets that don't kill anyone who has a special chip in their body that tells them they're a billionaire. And that's how our leading man gets found out. He doesn't have this special chip that says he's a billionaire. So the bullet doesn't dissolve inside of his body. It just penetrates him. Which I'm like, what are you doing? That is insane and makes little sense, but I love it to death because that's what would happen in this world that we've crafted here. That makes sense for everything going on in this story. So hell yeah, I'm on board with what that is. And now our leading man gets found out and he has to run not across the entirety of the island, but through a couple places. He goes to the movie studio, I don't give a shit studios. He puts on a green suit, which is a really great fight. Just seeing him in the green screen suit against the green background and just having that fight looked really good. Seriously though, Mark Russell, did you really have to put the Bill Cosby Memoriam or the Bill Cosby studio thing in there? It's hilarious, and I laughed my ass off when I saw it, but I'm like, oh, you're just driving into the point here that rich people suck. And you don't really need to do that because we all kind of know that already. So I was just like, oh, you're doing this, man. You're brilliant. You are brilliant. You are such a good creator, man. Everything you do, Mark, it turns into gold. I love it to death. This book is just so interesting and so fascinating, and everything about it just works so well. Our leading man does get caught, and he's now getting interrogated, and that's kind of where his story ends off in this book. But on the same note, our reporter from last issue, who was locked up with the lawyers and the accountants and all that stuff, she's hatching a plan to escape. Now, not really anybody else is feeling the need to escape with her, except for one man. I do not remember his name. I can't remember what his role was in the first issue. But they hatch a plan. As soon as the meal service comes in, they're going to stop the, I don't know what you call that, the thing that switches in like the gate cell where the food comes in, and then you pull it back, it goes back to the outside of the guard. They hatch a plan to escape through that, and it works, and they are now free on the island. But where are they going to go after that is still undecided. This book is so good. It's so good. We see just a lot of great stuff with the leading man, a lot of great stuff involving the billionaires and what's on this island, and these just small little details that would make sense, and that's the stuff that Mark Russell is great with. A lot of that works really well. If you guys still aren't reading this book, I highly recommend it. I'm telling you guys, you got to be on the lookout for Ahoy Comics, because they are going to take over a lot of this industry and do some really creative and interesting stuff that not a lot of people are going to be expecting. And it's going to be a lot of stuff that not a lot of other companies are making. So I highly, highly recommend Billionaire Island #2. And check it out, guys. It's well worth reading. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. You can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.